Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another session for nutrition and your rehab. And today we're going to present another session about meal planning for your recovery. And let's jump right in it. So, some overviews when it comes to meal planning, which is probably one of the hardest ones because once you learn all about, okay, what's the best thing for my body? What do I need to focus on? What are some of the foods that I need to, increase during this process to enhance and maximize my recovery, then you really it comes down to prepping, thinking about the food, buying the food, having access to the food. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that and some strategies and some guidelines that I'll put together to help you with that. So planning is important, right? Planning for your injury recovery is important to think about it. Smart grocery shopping, easy meal prepping ideas, easy portion control, um, lack of appetite or nausea, and then thinking ahead to your rehab sessions is important. So today let's just jump right in and think about some factors that affect intake. Following a grocery shopping list, you sometimes maybe you don't aim for those types of foods, but if you have something in hand that are already provided, like the list of foods that you want to target, that helps things a little bit and keeps it organized. If you have access to these foods, maybe you have a different type of store, or or maybe you don't, have access to certain, types of foods in your area. And then, budget, how often would you be shopping, location, recipe plan, if you have a recipe. And then, if you like to cook, if you enjoy cooking, that's a huge factor. If you have time to cook, right, it could throw it off. And then knowing your schedule, it's a huge factor, right? Thinking ahead, how many rehab sessions are you going to have? How many, what's your work uh, schedule? What's your school schedule? And then building a meal pattern around your schedule to make it work and make it doable. So, and then, following a step-by-step manual to get proficient at meal planning. And if you sort of go through these steps, you're going to become second nature, right? When you practice and now you don't have to think about it no more. But if you're not there yet, you want to think about the habits or creating the habit. So step one, knowing your eating pattern, right? We touched base on this for the first two sessions. It's important to identify, okay, when, right? Energy, to maintain our energy balance, to not eat too much, to not eat too little, to not, gain extreme amounts of weight or lose a lot of weight, because that will hinder your rehab and your recovery even more. And to maximize nutrient intake, if we want to hit that protein, goal, if we want to hit, the fiber goal, if we want to make sure, we eat, the right amounts of food, we want to make sure the when is important. Choose a pattern that works for you based on schedule and work. Again, keep it simple: 3+1, 3+2, 3 meals at least, or one snack or two. Low appetite. If you have nausea because of the secondary symptoms of some of the medications, then you have to consider eating smaller meals. So again, just a simple breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, 2 hour window. Give yourself, breakfast. I'm gonna eat breakfast from 7 to 9, somewhere in there. Lunch from 12 to 2, right? A snack simply means, make sure you're not allowing 4+ hours without eating, because it'll be difficult again to maximize that nutrient intake. So if you know that from lunch and dinner there's 7 hours, then okay, I'm going to eat a snack. Same thing for after dinner if you're going to go really late, or if you haven't hit your protein numbers. Okay, so that's step number one, knowing the eating pattern. Step number two, planning meals for the week. That's again, know your food groups. In the guideline I provided, I separated into different food groups and what foods I recommend for each of those. And keep it simple. Start with staple meals that you can follow through on a weekly basis, like 3 types of breakfast, 3 types of lunch, and then some, 3 to 4 types of dinners that you can repeat on a weekly basis. And same thing for snacks. So build your meals around protein, fruit, and or a non-starch, right? Those are the two components within your meals that are going to give you the most benefits for recovery. Protein, we're talking about losing the amino acid. Fruits and a non-starch, we're talking about all of those nutrients like the flavonoids that we learned that really controls inflammation and whatnot. And then the starch or the grain is part of it too, but that, you want to think about that, again, after you have a protein choice. Okay, am I going to have a fruit? Do I have enough veggies for this? And again, it kind of looks like this, right? You break it down in the week. Okay, I'm going to have, breakfast. I'm going to have an oatmeal type bowl. I'm going to have a yogurt type bowl twice a week, and I'm going to have eggs, right? And then obviously these are not complete, but you build it around that. Lunch, chicken salad twice a week with a grain or a starch option and a vegetable or a fruit, tuna salad twice a week and leftovers twice a week, right? Dinners, pork loin twice a week with a vegetable and a grain or starch, a lentil soup twice a week or more, and, some salmon once a week. Again, and this could change, but you want to think about these staple meals first. Snacks, nuts and fruit, yogurt and fruit, whey protein and fruit, right? And buying those and having access to it. So step number 2, planning, thinking about it and kind of breaking it down into simple meals that you can stick with. Meal planning framework. It's important to have, some type of a framework. And I like to just use a simple method: 1 protein choice per meal, 1 grain or starch type per meal, and 1 non-starch per meal, or a fruit. Or you can have, veggies and also fruit in there as well. Framework to a snack: protein and a healthy fat choice with the fruit or raw veggies. And again, it kind of looks like this for breakfast, right? Protein, grain, starch, fruit, and a vegetable. For lunch, protein, grain, and starch, fruit, and a vegetable. Same thing. Or, right, maybe for breakfast you're not getting a vegetable in, but you eat an apple with, the oatmeal and then maybe some boiled eggs on the side, for example. Protein, right, for dinner, same thing, grain or a starch, and then fruit or a veggie. And then snacks always go towards the fruit, the protein, a healthy fat, like a nut bar or something like that. Fruit or raw veggies, whole grains. If you have, if there's a lack of appetite during the day, you still want to get those carbohydrates to maintain that energy balance throughout the day. So you would probably be snacking on, pretzels or whole grain crackers or whatnot. So meal planning framework, easy to follow. Meal planning, another, just continuation of that, breakfast, where, you start from the top, right? And you start breaking it down. These are my options for this week. Grain or starch, I'm going to have some oatmeal in the house, whole grain bread, granola, and all throughout lunch, the same thing: whole grain bread wrap, rice, potatoes, lentils, beans. For dinners, I'm going to have some potatoes, whole grains available, some peas, depending on what you're going to make, or what your meals are already. Protein, for breakfast, keep it separated from like beef or pork or turkey, and keep it more so where, eggs are more suitable for breakfast. Obviously, yogurt, soy milk, whey protein, even, some turkey bacon, which could be lean, could be, something that, adds a little bit of a twist. Again, if you're making an egg omelet with spinach, turkey bacon sliced, and, some garlic and onions and peppers, that's going to be part of that meal. And then for protein, have those lean proteins throughout. Same thing with snacks, the different options for snacks, as far as grain and starch goes. Whole grain crackers would be, best. Proteins would be, nuts, seeds, soy, like edamame. Edamame is a soybean, whey protein. And then for the non-starch, okay, what are some of the non-starch that I can have for breakfast? Right? Spinach, peppers, mushrooms. Probably the easiest, vegetables that you can have. Lunch, leftover veggies or raw veggie bag. Tomatoes, cucumbers with hummus, something like that. Dinner, right? Easier to put something together, maybe a salad or roasted veggies. And then non-starch fruit for a snack could be a raw veggie bag. So you want to think about those types of deals, those types of food in each of the meals. So you maintain that, organized. And this is just a framework to get you started. If you're already there, that's great. And just think about, making sure you're getting those nutrients. Number three is grocery shopping strategy. Once a week is possible. That way you don't over shop or you don't, end up throwing foods that you're not going to eat. How much? Focus on meals per week, not recipes. I think that for recipes, it creates more of an elaboration to sort of go by. If you choose recipes instead of easy meals, it could take a long time. You might be buying a lot of different ingredients that you might just use for that recipe. So go with easy meals first, and I'll help you with those type of meals, and I'll give you a guideline with those recommended meals that I think you want to target. And having essentials available is important. High fiber, starch, and grains. Again, you can shop around. You can shop through your meals based on the meals that you're going to make, or you can shop around food groups. Some people shop around that, right? They have those essentials first, like whole grain crackers, oatmeal, potatoes, and peas, and then they'll figure out the meal later. Non-starch like snow peas, green leafy vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. They buy a few of these. You can buy a few of these for a week, depending on your family size. Quality proteins: lean pork, fish, chicken, lean beef, soy. Right, having those available, maybe a few of those, 3, 4 of those. And then fruits, any varieties of fruits. So you can either shop your groceries based on the meals that you're gonna have, those staple meals that or if you're already are making those meals, but you want to make other combinations or making sure you have those foods available in the house at all times, then you can go via this route and basing it off of food groups. Okay. All right. Step number 4, prepping and cooking, the hardest part. The hardest part out of all. You can have all the right foods, you can have access to everything, but if you don't have time to cook, if you don't have time to prep, it really doesn't matter. So the prepping is ideal, and that's why I like staple meals and easy meals that are easier to prepare rather compared to recipes that take, you got to follow a book, you got to follow some directions. And, if you've never made the simple meals, there's some directions to follow, but they're much simpler. Like throwing something together, throwing a wrap with, a side salad and a fruit on the side, preparing overnight oats on a weekly basis, preparing a yogurt parfait on a weekly basis, right? Cooking some protein, grill some proteins and, roasted veggies on a weekly basis. Those are staple meals. Recipes involve a lot more steps. But again, you could throw a recipe in there and you'll be fine as well. And it keeps it fun too. One day in advance, have to think about the day at least one day in advance. Okay, what am I going to prep tomorrow? At least prep lunch and snacks, because breakfast you can probably make, dinner you can probably make at home, and then build your meal around, again, protein, right? Protein, cook, cook a starch or a grain, cook a non-starch. After that, but make sure you have, a protein available. And then if you, elevate flavor on any dish, you use aromatic veggies, garlic, onions, peppers, dried spices. You could take the same, food and prepare it with different spices or different flavors, and it will taste completely different, even though it's the same. So again, I would say using those steps will help you with the prepping and cooking. And there's more to it, and I'll provide a guideline to help you with this as well. Step number 5, the essentials for quick meals. I think this is sometimes overlooked. Canned goods, prepackaged box foods. Some of those you can combine between a canned product, between a whole grain product or a prepackaged product to create a meal without, really spending a whole lot of time in the kitchen or you're on the go or whatnot. So canned goods, you break them down into proteins, chicken, lentil beans, tuna, sardines, mackerel. Those are great options for proteins when it comes to, canned products. Fruits and veggies for canned: kimchi, sauerkraut, spinach, prunes, pumpkin, low sodium soups. All of those are great. You can make great stuff with that. Healthy fats, olives, come in can sometimes, and they're or sealed bottles, and they're good. You can add it to many recipes. And fruits and veggies that are frozen are also very, very good, and they don't lose any of the nutritional value because they've been flash frozen, meaning that they retain all those nutrients. So any frozen veggies and fruits are good, and those can be purposed into like a smoothie, and it's a quick meal. And then you got the boxes, whole grains, keep some granola there, keep some whole grain crackers, all brand cereals, protein bars, fruit bars, nut bars, right? We're talking about nutrient dense foods, not, Pop Tart or candy or soda. Fruits and veggies that are prepackaged, cucumbers, tomatoes, snow peas, carrots are great with some hummus. And at the bottom, some healthy fats, some protein, some fiber. Prepackaged foods include hummus, nuts, seeds, and yogurt. They're all great. So if you keep this in your cabinet, your pantry, in your fridge, you can whip up a meal in no time. Okay, so summaries: focus on whole foods, simple meals, staple meals that you can maintain throughout the day. 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, 3 dinners, and I'll give you some ideas in the guideline I'll provide. And then, make sure you have a plan. Think ahead. Prep lunch and snacks at least, and have essential foods available, like those that we talked about, to prepare a quick and easy meal in less than 30 minutes. All right, thank you so much. Good luck, and I'll see you on the next one.